Hello friends! Okay, we are looking at the review for our test. This is actually not Unit 6A. This is Unit 5, Cycle 1. So this is going to be questions 27 through 35. And if I were you, I might go ahead and get out my Acquire 4 notes because this is going to be super helpful as we do some of these questions. So if we're starting on number 27 through number 33 all say the same thing. Describe the changes from the parent function. And our changes, our options are shift up, down, left, right, steeper, less steep, reflection. Okay, so remembering that this is the equation of the parent function, and we're comparing everything to that. You have a couple options here. If you have memorized all the things, you could do this just through memorization. Okay, if you have memorized all of these, if you've used your flashcards, then you can probably do this without it. Your other option is always going to be to graph these and see what it looks like with your eyes. So I will show you both ways. Way number 1 would be to graph it. So let's say that maybe we are not, let's see if I can get a nice, nope, hold please. Here we go. Alright, so option number 1 is I can go to New Document, Don't Save, Add a Graph. I always want to start with the parent function, so the first thing I'm going to graph is x squared. Enter. So this is my original. And then I hit tab, and now I'm going to type in the new one. So I start after the equal sign, so I'm going to start with the negative 9x squared. Enter. Okay. How is the red one different than the blue one? Well, the first thing I notice is instead of going up, it's going down. So it's reflected. But it's also a lot skinnier. So we would consider that to be steeper. So we would say that this is a reflection. And it's steeper because it's skinnier or more narrow. Okay. Now you're like, Miss, how would I figure that out if I didn't graph it? Well, if I look at my little cheat sheet here, I have a negative out in front. And we know that a negative out in front means reflection. Check. And then I'm multiplying by a 9 out front. So multiplying is going to be A or B. And then if it's out front, it's going to be an A. Okay? Now the number 9, not negative 9, because the negative means reflection. So we're just looking at the absolute value, which is 9. 9 is bigger than 1, which would make it steeper. Okay? So you can do this by graphing, or you can use your index cards, your flashcards, or your notes. 28. Describe the changes from the parent function. Okay. G of x equals 7x squared. So if we look here, I'm multiplying by a number out in front. Multiplying is an A or a B. Now this has no parentheses, so it cannot be the B, which means it's got to be the A. And the number 7 is bigger than 1, which means that this is going to be a steeper parabola. It shouldn't do anything else. Let's check in our graphs and make sure. So I am going to hit tab. I'm going to arrow up, and I'm going to delete out the old one from the previous problem. And I'm going to type 7x squared. So I'm still going to have the blue graph because that's my parent function. But now the red graph is going to change, and it's going to change to the 7x squared graph. So now the red one is the 7x squared. And it is much more narrow, which we call steeper. Okay, so a couple strategies there. 29. Describe the changes of the parent function when h of x equals 19 over 23 x squared. Okay. I'm still multiplying by a number in front. My number happens to be a fraction. So, again, if I'm looking here, multiplication is A or B. There are no parentheses, so it's not going to be B. It's an A. Now, 19 over 23 is a fraction. It is less than 1, but bigger than 0. So this one should be less steep. Let's say I want to check my work and make sure. I'm going to hit Tab, arrow up. I'm going to delete out this one. All right, I need to make a fraction. Oops. Hold, please. I'm going to go back. New document. Don't save. Add a graph. I accidentally deleted something, so now I got to start over. So I have to do my parent function, x squared. Boom. Good. All right, now tab. Here we go. I need a fraction, so control divide. 19 over 23. Arrow to the right, so I get a big cursor, x squared. Now, we said this one should be less steep. Ooh, it's just a little bit less steep. Look at that. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. You don't have to, but I'm going to. I want you to see how the red one is less steep than the blue one. The red one is wider. It's not wider by a whole lot, but it is wider than the blue one. So we were correct. Less steep. Okay. 30. Describe the changes from the parent function. When h of x equals 7 over 3x squared. And some of you are going, that's just like the last one. It's going to be less steep because it's a fraction. Ah, hold your roll. 7 over 3 is an improper fraction, meaning it's actually bigger than 1. So, if it's bigger than 1, it's more than likely going to be steeper. Not more than likely, it will be steeper. So let's take a look and find out. I'm going to zoom back out a little bit before I graph this. Bing, bing. Okay. Tab. Escape. Tab. Arrow up. I'm going to delete out this old one. I'm not going to delete my equal sign this time. I'm going to be careful. Okay, fraction. 7 over 3 x squared. It is steeper. It is steeper. It is more narrow because 7 over 3 is improper, so it's bigger than 1. So if we look at our cheat sheet, bigger than 1 is steeper. (31) All right, describe the changes from the parent function. All right, they kind of wrote these out of order. This is actually the parent function. And this is the new function, negative x squared. A lot of you guys have this one memorized by now. But if you do not, and negative out in front. Ta-da! Now remember, if it's a negative inside of parentheses, nothing's going to happen. But this is a negative out in front. It is a reflection. And there are no numbers. There's nothing else. So it's not going to get steeper or less steep. This one is a reflection. I could also graph that if I wanted to see it. So I would type negative x squared. And I would get the perfect reflection. Not wider, not more narrow, not steeper, not less steep. Exactly perfect reflection. Okay, 32. Describe the changes of the parent function when we have x squared plus 7. All right, this is the first one we've done out of these that was not a multiplication. It has a plus sign. So if we look at our options, here, I have a plus sign here, and I have a plus sign here. Our problem has no parentheses. So it cannot be this one. It must be this one over here, which is going to move it up, and it's going to move it up 11 units. So shift up 11 units. Okay, if we wanted to look and see what that looks like, tab x squared plus 11. I can't see it. Oh no, my calculator's broken. No, it's not. Zoom out. Menu, zoom, zoom out. There it is. It's way up there. Okay, so it shifted up 11 units. We did not multiply by anything, so it's not wider or more narrow. So it should be the exact same steepness. When we look at this one, f of x squared is the parent function, and our new function is x squared minus 3. So similarly, I have two options for minus. Our problem does not have any parentheses, which means it's got to be this one, because it's out in the back. So it's going to go down. And it's going to go down 3 units. Tab, delete, minus 3. Ba-dum, okay, so the vertex moved from 0, 0 down 3 units. And that's the only thing that happened. It just went bloop, and it came down a little bit. Okay, these last 2 questions are review questions. Let's see what you remember. So, I'm going to write this problem over here, I think, maybe, so I have some more space. So I have negative 8x plus 3x less than 3 parentheses 10 minus 10x close parentheses minus 11 1 minus 4x. Holy goodness, it's long. It's okay, we're about to clear it up. Here is my dividing line. We are going to solve for x, but first I need to clear some stuff up. There's a lot of things going on in here. First of all, these two on the left-hand side, these two are like terms. So negative 8 plus 3 is negative 5. So that one gets a little bit smaller. I can do 3 times 10 and 3 times 10. So I have 30 minus 30x. And then I can do negative 11 times 1 and negative 11 times 4x. So I have negative 11. And then negative 11 times negative 4 is positive 44x. Okay. On this side, I have some things that are like terms. So this negative 30x and this positive 44x can combine. And so we're going to take negative 30 plus 44. They get 14. So I have 14x. And then this 30 and this negative 11, those can go together. So I have 30 minus 11, 19, and negative 5x. Okay, whew, that looks a little bit better. Now I want to get all my x's on one side, so I am going to subtract 14x on both sides. Negative 5 minus 14, negative 19. I need to divide by negative 19 on both sides to get my x by itself. I divided by a negative, which means that I have to flip my symbol. I wonder how many of you guys remembered that. And then 19 divided by negative 19 is negative 1. Okay? So, when I come over here to my answer choices, my problem does not have an underline, so I can get rid both of them that have underlines. This one is greater than, and this one is less than. Mine says greater than. Ta-da! All right, last one. Which of the following is equivalent to? So we have this linear equation. I know it's linear because it has an x and y, and it does not have an exponent, so it doesn't say x squared or anything like that. And all my answer choices have the y by itself. So I need to solve this for y. I need to get y by itself so I can figure it out. So step 1, I'm going to move the x term to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 13x. Now why am I subtracting 13x? Well, because right now this is a positive 13x, and the opposite of plus 13 is minus 13. Alright, so I still have negative 5y equals. These two are not like terms because 53 does not have an x. So I have negative 13x minus 53. I need to divide by negative 5 so that I can get y by itself. So, 13 over 5. I don't think that reduces, but let's find out. So, negative 13 divided by negative 5 is positive 13 over 5. Yeah, so not a whole lot happens there, except that a negative divided by a negative is a positive. Second one, 53. So we have negative 53 divided by negative 5. Positive 53 over 5. All right, let's start looking at our answer choices. That one's got a negative. That one's got two negatives. That one's got a negative. That one. Okay? So, don't forget, when you're looking at these, you can have them memorized, use those flashcards, or you can graph it in your calculator and look at it. You guys got this.